Hi there, my name's Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Oh, I've lost my logo. There we go. And my info box to show any subscribers and super chats. There we go. That's better. First of all, apologies for the hair. Don't make any comments. I'm getting a haircut on Wednesday. I know it's out of control. It's been 2 months. That will be taken care of soon, but that's not the important thing today. Let's reframe so it's not quite as obvious. There we go. All right, today is Monday, August the 7th, 2023. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I've got lots to talk about today. Last week, it feels like a year ago. It was just this time last week, a few hours from now, this time last week, I met with Lee and Rosanna, our moderators. They're currently on vacation. They stopped by to see me play. We spent 2 days together, and it was really awesome. It was so weird. It's like, I've never chatted with them on the phone or on Skype or anything. All I've done is chatted with them through the channel, a handful of messages through Facebook Messenger to send like a Christmas card or a birthday card. And that's it. And I've seen those few videos that Lee sent of him playing songs and a few videos I've seen of him playing songs. Haven't seen Rosanna in any videos. And yet I felt like I knew them my whole life. I felt like I knew them. They were exactly how I thought they would be. It's kind of strange and interesting. I mean, it's very normal now to meet people online, right? We do it every day, but I've known them since the early days of the pandemic. It's been a long time. And it's really great to meet them in person. Kind of weird because you wonder how it will be because you are, you know, like some of you in the chat, you never met me in person. I never met you in person. So you kind of have a preconceived idea of how someone will be in person. But they were exactly how I thought they would be. We had a great time. And if you're interested in that, they're not so much in the video, but when we went down to some guitar stores, they did help me film a video of that. And I really enjoyed that too. I really enjoyed making an on-location video rather than doing everything from the apartment. And my plan is to do more of those in the future, as long as time and budget allows. So please watch that video. It actually did really well. I got over 500 views, which I wasn't expecting. I really did it just for a memento, really. But it was really cool. We played some great guitars. If you've got any questions about that video or those guitars, let me know. And then that kind of inspired me really to make more videos. I really enjoyed making that video and it came out well. There were some issues with the audio, which I'm working on correcting. Well, I did correct. And then I sort of got the bug again. So I've been doing videos every day. I'm trying to do a video every day now. And 2 reasons really. One is to see if it grows the channel. And it is growing the channel. I'm getting loads more subscribers per day than I was when I wasn't making videos, which is kind of obvious, right? The more, it's like fishing. The more hooks you throw in the pond, the more fish you're going to catch. So there's that, which is awesome. And then also I am doing a big sell-off. I keep saying it. I'm not trying to oversay it. I really am doing that. And I want to make those videos before I sell the items. So that's why you're seeing a lot of videos about certain things each time. That means I'm going to be probably selling that item and I'm trying to get all the content I can from it because I'm probably going to lose money on it, but at least I can get views and subscribers from it. And if I do that all the way up to NAMM, then I can take a step back and decide if it's worth my time or not. So lots of stuff coming. I really appreciate it. If you want to help me, if you could watch all the videos I post, if you could comment on the videos, like or dislike them if you don't like them, and share them with friends and in groups, I'd really appreciate it, because it's much better than when I share it in groups, and I'll probably just get banned if I do that too much. So yeah, it's been a really great week. And if I don't get any questions, I will talk through the videos that I made this week and tell you some more information about those videos. But you know, this is open session. One more thing, I say it every week, and I just want to make it clear that I'm not being rude. I'm now sending basically a standard message to people that email me or contact me on social media. I'm getting 1 or 2 messages a day about, can you check this out? Can you recommend this? Why did you say this? I'm just sending a message now saying, please come here on a Monday. This is the time allotted to discuss all that stuff in person. A, it's much better for me to react in real time. You get a really frank and honest response. And B, I don't want to be answering questions all the time. I do try to answer the comments on the videos, but to then also answer the emails and the Instagram and the Facebook Messenger and the website emails as well is just too much. So if it isn't like a business type thing, then please come here on a Monday and ask. Or this is what the Monday is for. It's a social, it's a hangout, catch up with each other and talk about current releases and get advice from each other on previous releases. That's exactly what this is for. So I want to just make it clear, I'm not being rude. Maybe I am being rude by sending a standard reply, but that standard reply is just simply because I want to stay really focused on the videos each day. They take time, and I want to be just late. I've also got my gigs to do as well. So I want to wake up, make the video, go to the gig, come home, and then do the answers on Monday. Also, my voice sounds dry because I'm wearing my Invisalign. I should be on the last course now, so I have to wear them all the time, and that makes my throat dry. So that's why I drink lots of water. All right. Anyway, that's all that housekeeping out the way. So let's get on with it. If you're new here, subscribe and ring the bell. That'd be awesome. I've also made a decision. People have been asking me to do more live stream concerts. Not a lot of people, but some people. And of course, they're a bit dodgy because you don't know if you're going to get those copyright strikes and things like that. But it is what I do. It is what I do professionally. So every time, here's the thing. I've decided every time I hit another 1,000 subscriber milestone, so like when I hit 16,000, I'll do a concert to celebrate the milestone that week. So that's my pledge to give back for that. And if you're into that, let me know, because I have had people ask me over the last months to do more concerts and play the guitar and sing and show the pedal. And so I'm happy to do like one every milestone. I think that'd be really fun. I enjoyed that in lockdown too. I was actually telling Lee and Rosanna, I prefer to stand up and play, and I can't really do that here. Maybe I can if I figure it out. Maybe I can figure it out, but I don't want to move all my cameras around because they're set up to go. But I would like to at least go live for half an hour and do some songs, and you know, it's good. It's good anyway to put that pressure on myself, because those gigs are then recorded forever, right? So that will be happening too. Lots of things are planned here. Formerly known as T was first. Good job, buddy. Hey, Aaron. Good evening to everyone. And then Bedouin says, hi, Aaron, and all you great guitar players. You haven't heard us play yet, Bedouin. Just kidding. We are all great. We're all great. I'm great in my own living room. Patsy Smith says, hi, Patsy from Suffolk, UK. And I won't read out the ones where you're talking to each other. David's here. Good to see you, David. Bernard's in Suffolk with Patsy. Alan says, evening. Mark Smith says, evening. I'm in Swansea Valley. Very cool. Thanks for reminding me every week. It's just to get the chat rolling. I do remember where most people live. Of course, you tell me every week, but it's nice to be reminded. Mark says, I wish I had hair like yours. You'd be surprised at the comments I get on my hair. People give me a hard time for my hair. But you're right. You know, hair today, gone tomorrow. I shall enjoy it while I have it. So leave me alone. Dave says, just watch the Martin video. Thank you, Dave. And yeah, feel free to put whatever comments you want on those videos. I won't be offended. It's all so subjective, this stuff. And I just love the conversation, honestly. I really do. Sometimes there's videos, just to be clear, sometimes there's a video where obviously there is a clear winner or a clear answer to a question. But so many of these videos you do are just back and forth, like neither is the best. They're slightly different iterations of each other. But I remember when I did the OMJM versus the custom shop guitar, that was a clear winner for me. There was just no contest. It was just like the Custom Shop was just that guitar on steroids. Whereas the Standard Series versus the Custom Shop was more about two different flavors, like, you know, chocolate ice cream and strawberry ice cream. There wasn't really a winner. But ultimately, I did decide I am going to sell the OM28 hi-fi guitar because I have to make a decision. Like I have to move stuff on, especially because there's more stuff coming out at the end of the year that I'd like to try as well. So I have to like move stuff on. Mark Smith says, Aaron, I did my first solo gig last night. Awesome. That deserves one of these. At a jazz and blues fest. It went well, but the timings went wrong. I was supposed to go on at 4. I went on at 6. Apart from that, it was fantastic. Was this a paid gig or a festival? What was it? Give us more information. And what did you play? Did you play saxophone? And by the way, that always happens at these events where they have multiple acts. They always run behind time. And things like weddings where you don't have multiple acts per se, but you have multiple sections of the wedding, they always run behind. A lot of bands end up playing for an hour. Of course, they still get paid the same because they're waiting around. But that's a very common thing for that to happen. I'll move myself down because you can't see my t-shirt. Today is brought to you by Soundhole Sniffer. I have no sponsors here. I'm my own sponsor. If you like what I do, buy a t-shirt. The links are on every video. Really appreciate it. It all helps to pay for all these microphones and things. So, yeah, tell us more, Mark. I need more information. David B says, in terms of sound, and by the way, you don't have to put a Q for your question. It just helps if you do, and if you super chat it, it helps me even more, makes me happy. But you don't have to. There's not enough people here for me not to see all your questions. But hopefully one day there'll be 100 people here, and you'll have to put a Q. But I just put it there it just helps out if you do put a Q there. So in terms of sound with acoustic and vocals, how would you describe the difference between the Bose S1 Pro and the Everse 8? Do you notice any difference in projection with the Bose versus the Bose 120 versus EV110? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, David. But vocals, that's a very interesting question. To me, the honest answer is the S1 Pro and the Everse 8 sound completely different. And I've tried to explain this in the past. It's really hard for me to explain. The Bose has this kind of soft, scooped sound that I don't know if it's the right way to explain it, but it's almost like it's me but louder. It's almost like you've just put a volume on me and turned me up in the room, and I'm just louder. Where the Everse 8 is more like your conventional PA speaker, where it's like punchy and like, you know, like just a PA speaker that's a flat response and just punchy. And that's how I describe it. I would describe the S1 Pro more as a personal amplification device. So it basically takes you and makes you louder. And with the wireless systems you can get for it, it does that even better, because if you put it behind you on the floor and simply have a mic stand or a headset that you're wearing, then you are basically you, but louder. There's no cables, there's nothing. It's clean, it's super clean. And I love it for that reason. But it doesn't sound anything like a regular PA speaker to me. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. So the Everse 8 does sound like a regular PA speaker. And in some ways that's good, in some ways that's bad. It's bad because it's kind of harsh, because it's like a PA speaker, like pushing the sound. And it's good because it's pushing the sound. So I would be more comfortable using that at a band gig as a monitor. I feel like it might be more accurate and more punchy. Whereas at a coffee shop, I would use the Bose S1 Pro every time. It's amazing. And I really love that. I love them both, actually. I wish I had a favorite, because that's going to be the new product where people say, which one should I buy? And I'm going to say both. And that's not to be a fanboy of either product. They're both excellent at what they do. They're both best in class at what they do. And they're quite different. They're different enough to kind of consider both of them. In fact, to have the S1 Pro Plus and the Everse 8 would be a killer pair, because you could use the Bose S1 Pro with the wireless options and then run that out into the Everse 8 for the additional power and coverage of the room. Both would be battery powered. So I can't explain, but I am going to be, I'm doing something. I'll tell you guys here because it's I don't want to announce this because I don't want someone to, well, I don't want someone to take my idea, but on the other hand, this has already been done. I'm going to do my own comparison. I'm going to do the Bose S1 Pro Original, the Bose S1 Pro Plus, the Everse 8, the JBL Compact, possibly the Yamaha StagePass 200, and I've asked Mackie if they want to submit their battery-powered speaker that's 17 pounds and 200 watts for inclusion. I'm going to be making the ultimate amp shootout. I've got a good friend of the channel who's been a real good friend recently, in real life as well as on the channel. We're going to shoot it at his place so we can turn them up. We're going to do vocals and guitar and maybe percussion through every one. We're going to discuss, I'm hoping he'll be in the video with me, to discuss the sound of each speaker, the features of each speaker, and I'm going to do a full comparison of all the leading battery-powered amps on the market. And I think it's going to do really well because my channel actually does better on battery-powered speakers than it does on guitars and singing. And my degree's in singing, and I play guitar professionally. Go figure. People love those because I get a lot of DJs watching as well. So I'm really excited to do that. I'm very fortunate that I have some of those speakers already. I need to sell some, but I figured, look, before I sell them, I need to make this video. And in that video, you'll hear vocals through every system. So if you can hang on for a while, I can't guarantee when that will happen. It's dependent on schedule and availability and waiting to see if Mackie are on board or not. But that will be coming, hopefully. Again, I'm not going to promise because don't ask me in 3 months if it doesn't show up what happened to it. I have to do this around my own schedule and my own availability. And obviously, I've got to get to the place and all that kind of thing. It's time and money. So I just wanted to say that because you're interested and I'm excited about it. But yeah, I probably shouldn't have said anything. But if that does happen, I believe that'll be a really cool, well, potentially will be a really cool video. And if it's not, it's not. But I think it could be amazing. So watch out for that. I'm really excited to do more of that kind of stuff. So stay tuned and stay subscribed. Let's see here. I've got a lot of comments, so I've got to keep up. Rex and Maddie is headed to Nashville. Are you going to Groon Guitar, Rex? Let us know what you're going there for. Mark Smith said a good question. Formerly known as T says, Aaron Short Music, 2 nice OMs you have. Still haven't picked up a good set of headphones or couldn't give you an honest evaluation. Both sounded good on the TV. Yeah, just be careful with that. Someone said to me last week they listened to my videos on an iPhone. Now, the reason I know that's a bad idea is that I have these really cool monitors in the studio for doing the videos. And they're also, I must do a follow-up video on them. I had a lot of problems with them initially. The company finally, after I pushed, gave me a brand new set for the 3rd time, and they've been amazing since, and they're amazing monitors. So there we go. Great customer value there, great customer service, and a great product. I love them. And they have a setting on them to play me back my music on an iPhone-style speaker. And it sounds nothing like hearing them on full range speakers. So do yourself a favor and get some good in-ear monitors or some good headphones and listen to these videos on 4K with those. Even then, it won't be as good as hearing the original recording or being in the room with the guitars. But at least it will give you a much better idea. Everything on an iPhone is going to sound exactly the same and have no low end on it. Don't get me wrong. iPhone speakers are incredible, but they are not reference speakers by any means, and they're not a good way to listen to stuff. BMO says, excellent news. Patsy says, I hope you're doing a Christmas song this year. Well, yeah, but I'm not going to think about that yet. It's way too soon to think about that. Although I know that some people do think about that at this time of year to be well planned, but I won't be thinking about that until at least November. But I probably will, yes. Depending on how the last ones went. If they got over 1,000 views, then it's worth doing. So T says, missed the concerts as well. So that's what I'm going to do. Every time I hit the 1,000, I'm going to go live to celebrate that new milestone. Mark says, what type of music? Thanks for the cue. What type of music do you perform? So I do everything. Pop, rock, country, jazz. When I say everything, you know, mainstream. So I'll just list off some bands like Beatles, Oasis, Queen, John Denver, lots of country songs, lots of indie songs, some 80s songs, anything popular. Brown Eyed Girl, Take Me Home Country Roads, Wonderwall, John Mayer, anything that I like that I know the audience will like. We were discussing those songs last week, and we should do that more in the future. What are the best songs to cover at a gig for the best audience response? That could be a great video in the future. Telly Fan is here. Good to see you. It's Steve from Liverpool again. RE Cole Clark True Hybrid. So Steve bought the Cole Clark True Hybrid. Oh. Oh no. Send it back. I couldn't get on with the Strat control layout getting in my way. Let's talk about that. I do think that is, I do know exactly what you mean. When you're used to and a lot of this is, again, what you're used to. So when you're used to an acoustic like the Cole Clark behind me, that's my #1 guitar behind me. When you're used to that, and then you throw on a bunch of controls for your electric guitar, if you're used to strumming with nothing in the way, you are probably going to hit them with your hand. What you'd have to do is take the time to strum less, less movement so you don't hit them. But I did actually think that when I reviewed that guitar, if you just want an acoustic, you don't want the electric stuff because it's going to add weight. It's going to affect the tone of the guitar unplugged. You're going to have those controls potentially in your way. So I think I said that in the video. If not, I was definitely thinking it. You do not want to buy a guitar like the True Hybrid if you don't really want those things. What you want to do is just get a regular Cole Clark like mine, or get the Cole Clark like mine with a single humbucker. So you just have the switch and the single volume knob. Even then, that will get in your way if you're an aggressive strummer. So I totally know what you mean, but I think it's a shame because I think, if you did want those electric sounds, it does it so well. But I do understand what you're saying, and it is a lot of money to spend. So, okay, I get it. But yes, to back up what you're saying, my main gigging guitar is not the True Hybrid yet. It's the one behind me because it is just a simple grab and go acoustic guitar. And if I'm going to drum on it, I don't want the pickup controls in the way either. That's why this is my #1. So I totally get it. But if someone is used to a Strat over an acoustic and they want the hybrid, I think that it can't be beat. So, okay, sorry for your loss, Telefan too. But there we go. C'est la vie. Guitars aren't for everyone. Certain guitars aren't for everybody. Rosanna's back. So they're on vacation right now. So thanks for joining us, Rosanna. Because otherwise I have no moderator. Good afternoon, Aaron, everyone in the chat. Great to see you. Let us know how your trip's going. The Panda says your OM28 Engelmann Custom is sweet. It's a very good guitar. That is the same guitar that I compared to a John Mayer prototype, and I felt it, and the viewers felt it stood up to that guitar. I've had several people try to buy that guitar off me, but they've all been kind of, I want to say lowballers, but they've offered me kind of going price, and I don't think that's enough. I think when you get a custom guitar that's very good and sounds great, I think that adds to the value personally. Well, for me it does. Basically, if someone wanted to buy that off me, I would not go below a certain price because I don't want to sell it. And I know if I ordered another custom, it might not turn out the same as that one because the guitars all differ, right? That is one of the best sounding OMs I've ever played, and so, as is the original Mayer that I had. I can't remember well enough how that sounded in the room, but I'm sure this is at least as loud, and it looks amazing too. So that is currently, I won't say it's my #1. There's a couple of other acoustics that I prefer in a way, but as a cool guitar, that's a cool guitar, and I will not let that go unless it's worth my while. That's just the honest truth. But I think what I'm trying to say really is I think it's interesting that I've had at least 3 or 4 people reach out to buy that off me, which I've never had with any other guitar, which is cool. Telefan2 says, I'm going to try the thin line with the single humbucker, which is less cluttered. That's exactly what I was going to suggest. And the only thing is, did you like the neck? Because I like that neck. They've got slightly less shoulder on that neck. It's slightly thinner than my standard Angel 2. I like that on the hybrid because it is more like an electric guitar. But I tried the thin line with no humbucker, just the regular thin line, and I didn't like that neck. It was too thin for me. I like a very in-between neck. So I love the neck on the Angel 2. So also consider just getting an Angel 2 unless you really want that thinner body. But the Angel 2 is still my favorite Cole Clark. So the Jazz and Blues Fest was for charity. I did a mix of both tube on themes and tequila. Yeah, I play tequila on acoustic guitar. Sometimes it goes down really well. Sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on the crowd and how I do it, and how fun it is. Rosanna says, hi, Patsy. How are you? It's very hot in Playa del Carmen. We have a massage. Oh, wow. Don't say that. Now I feel like I need a massage. Very nice. Very nice. David says the Bose is 120 degrees projection. Evie, okay. Evie's list is 110 degrees. Thanks for your answer. Bose is 112. You know, Pete, we get very caught up on the projection and the what's the word? dispersion. We get very caught up on the dispersion of these speakers. But I mean, 110 versus 120 is not enough to really be concerned about. Well, I mean, bigger is always better unless you want a directional speaker. That's the thing. But they're both like in the ballpark. I would not choose one over that. I would choose one based on the other specs and the needs that you have for that speaker. What's going to be your first Taylor? So talking about the video that we released last week from where I was at Rudy's playing Taylors. They were better than I remember. You know, I've played a lot of Taylors the last few years that sounded very narrow and tight. Now, the Cole Clarks sound like that too in a way. No guitar is kind of as boomy as a Martin. And that can be a good and bad thing depending on what you're going for. Playing those Taylors, I was pleasantly surprised. I love the build quality. I love the consistency. I'm not sure about the ES2. I think I can make it sound good, but I don't think it's not going to be as good as my Cole Clark, but I'd like to try the ES2 for my pickup series. The most impressive guitar we played was the 214. It was the loudest. That made it impressive to me. As I said earlier, I like volume. The 914 was lovely, but it wasn't as loud as the 214. And the shop assistant was telling me, if I forgot your name, he was telling me that the 214 has no bracing on the top, on the back, only on the top, I think. So that's why it has more volume in the same way that a carbon guitar has more volume. So I think the 214 would be a great guitar to visit, but I'm still not sure. But it will be at some point that will happen. Zane says, "Hi Aaron, everyone. Best regards from England." Good to see you, Zane. Lee says, "Hello everyone. We're going to get our massage in Mexico." They're just showing off now. But good to see you guys. I'll see you back here next week. Next week I'll be on at 1 again. I'm playing that same place I did last week. So next week we'll be on at 1 p.m. again as well. It's so good of you to be here tonight. Yes, it is. Thanks for helping out. Don't forget the Boss Cube Street 2. It's nice with looper and harmony vocals. Bluetooth with a good app. Only 4 kilograms. Yeah, I can't do all of them. For me, the main ones is the S1 Pro Plus, because the S1 Pro was the OG battery-powered speaker that you could actually gig with, in my opinion. And then the JBL was their answer to that, which got a lot of hype and interest. And then the EV was the minute I bought that thing, I was blown away by it. Those really are the three that I want to compare. And then the Mackie, simply because it's £17, 200 watts and affordable. And the Yamaha, simply because it's the newest one and it's much heavier but got much more features. I don't think I can do more than that. And I'd have to reach out to Boss as well to get one. I don't think that, I think that one won't make the cut, unfortunately. But thanks for letting me know about another one. I have to draw a line somewhere. I could try to get all of them, and I just, the video would be too long. Maybe one day I can put the Cube Street 2 against the winner of the shootout from that video, if it happens. Danielle says, when doing the listening test, it would be good if someone can move around the room and listen on and off axis. Yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play a loop through each speaker. We're going to measure the dB of each speaker, which one's physically loudest, and walk around the room and say which one we prefer the tone of, and around the room, behind, in front, all that kind of thing. Can you make a video about acoustic guitar maintenance? I want to get a high-end acoustic, but a little worried about caring for it. I can, but honestly, there's so many videos about it. Like, what kind of things would you want me to cover? I guess I would cover cleaning, restringing, humidifying, whether it's necessary or not, things like that. I honestly don't think there's much to worry about. It's also very dependent on where you live. If you live in a place that gets very dry in the winter, then you've got to be on it in the winter with your guitar in its case, humidified, measuring, all that kind of stuff. If you live in the UK, you might not need to do any of that stuff. So a lot of that is very dependent on where you live and the climate you're in. And in regards to cleaning and things like that, I just use guitar polish, and I don't know. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it because I've been doing it for a long time. So I'll think about it, Panda. Yeah, I'm doing regular videos. I'd like to, some days I'll do a 3-minute video with just a thought about something that's on my mind. Some days I'll release a 30-minute comparison. Some days I'll release a 10-minute short review. So I do need lots of ideas. So I'll think about that. And I know it's important. Like yesterday, I took a small scratch out of that custom shop guitar with some scratch remover. And I didn't even know that was a thing until recently. So things like that could be useful, I'm sure. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So that's my commitment. So as soon as we get to, where am I at now? So I just hit 15, so I'm not going to do one for that, sorry. But I'm at 15,089. So as soon as I get to 16, I'll go live and do a concert to celebrate. Do I do originals? I do, but it's not really what I enjoy at the moment. I might, yeah. I want to say I might revisit it, but you have to really want to write songs. Otherwise it's very forced, in my opinion. So I've done originals, and you can search them on the internet. They're all up there. There's even some videos up there, but nothing that I really want to. Yeah, my focus these days is on performance and the fun of the gear stuff, really. Quentin James, good to see you, Quentin. How you doing? Were you in Phil McKnight's chat just now? Good to see you. And Lee says, hi, Patsy. It was brilliant to see you play live. Yes, they saw me play live. And that was cool. I really like that because Lee and Rosanna have only seen me sitting here and play on the live stream. I'm glad they got to see me play in the room. And as guitars sound different in the room, I feel like I sound different in the room as well. I hope I do anyway. I hope that I sound better than I do on the stream. Thoughts on the new V-bracing? Well, I just never really got it. The things they say about it make a lot of sense. More sustain, better intonation. But whenever I've played the V-Brace Taylor, they sound a bit tight. Now, I know some people like tight and directional. But as I always say, we get used to what we get used to. And I'm used to the boomy Martin sound. Sometimes it's too boomy. But that's the sound that I'm used to over the last 5 years or so. So I've gone a bit more the other way since playing the Cole Clarks. But I was impressed with some of those Taylors. What I would like to do, if you ever see one, or if you have one, I'd really like to try, say, a Taylor 414 with the X bracing. If I could find one of those in mint condition for a reasonable price, I'd like to try that. But then again, is it worth it? Because I'll be talking about a guitar that is no longer made. So I don't know. But again, the guitars that impressed me last week were the 214, which is not V-braced, and the 914, which is V-braced, but a very nice guitar. Sounded very nice. I'd like to try them, but I'm not going to rush out and buy a 914 for that kind of money. And currently the used market is horrible, as I'm sure you know. So maybe one day I can do a video with Taylor. I know, and what I like about that video is I now know that I like Taylors. There's things I really like. I really like the consistency. I really like the build quality. I really like the look of them, and the feel of the neck is second to none. They're amazing. They feel so good. The armrest is so good. So I would love to check out a 914, but I can't justify spending money on it just to have a video on it. But maybe, who knows, maybe if they're back at NAMM in January, I can speak with them. I don't know. I'm not saying they want to do anything, but I'd like to feature these brands, but only if it's viable. You know what I'm saying? But I did, for the record, I did love the 214 and the 914 in the shop. So Telefan2 says, RE, the hybrid, neck was fine. Okay, good. Nice. Yeah, the necks are very nice on those. Satin feel is great. Thinner body is a must. Okay, so you do want that one, especially as a true hybrid acoustic sound was so good, of course. Otherwise, just play my Aitken J43 with an Anthem. Okay, yeah, so I think you are going to like the thin line Cole Clark. That's cool. For me as T says, music, if you're getting the Taylor, go for the Koa. That's interesting because the Blackwood behind me apparently is very similar to Koa. The K24 CE is a lovely guitar. You have Rosewood, etc. Yeah, I think I've played the K24 CE in the past, and I think I really liked it. I think that's the Sunburst one you're talking about, right? I think that is a cool. Let me check it out. Because I haven't, when I'm live, I don't check out guitars. Usually I'm surfing guitars all day long. So let me see. K24 CE. Yes, I'm pretty sure I've played this one. And there's a Builder's Edition. I think I've played the Builder's Edition. Let's take a quick look. Certainly not inexpensive, but it is a Builder's Edition. So here's the desktop. In stock at Sweetwater. So we got, this one is lighter. This actually reminds me of the Cole Clark in a way. Look at that, with the middle stripe with everything. Nice inlay. Reminds me of that Martin SC custom shop. The Tree of Life inlay. Nice top. I like that. That is very cool. Nice tuners. And lovely top. yeah, very Cole Clark-esque, I will say. Hard shell case, which I usually prefer a gig bag these days, but the thing about these is the consistency is amazing, the feel's amazing, like the neck is amazing. I mean, the neck on the Cole Clark is amazing, but these are just super polished and super consistent, much more consistent than the Martins, which some people will say, well, that's a bit too clinical for me. Yeah, but it's also nice, you know, it's nice to have a guitar that's really well made. I've seen some on that trip. I saw some guitars. That okay. Let's talk about the let's. This looks amazing. I would love to try this guitar. That looks fantastic. But again, I'm not going to spend $6,000. Even though you can currently get one for $200 as like a buy one get one. I don't understand that. Buy one get one. Buy a guitar, get one for $200. Whatever. It's cool. But yes, I would like to try that guitar. Let's talk about the Martin D18 Legend, Street Legend, because it really wasn't my thing. From these photographs, I thought I might like it, but I've kind of gone off Relics a little bit recently, and then to kind of print it on, nah. But the thing I noticed about this when I was with Lee and Rosanna at Guitar Center, and by the way, I want to say there's been a lot of negative things said about Guitar Center lately. The assistant at Guitar Center was awesome. I asked, the guitars were locked up. I asked to see, Lee and I wanted to see 5 of them. He unlocked all 5. He tuned them. He brought out a guitar stand. He asked if there was any questions, was not pushy, and I couldn't have had a better experience. So it's not about the guitar store. It's about the person at the guitar store sometimes. But what I noticed on this guitar at Guitar Center is that it was not, the grain was not fully filled, and so I felt like it wasn't a standard series with no gloss and the screen printed, or not screen, you know, the printed top. It was actually a few other things have not been done, and I don't know if that's happening on all the guitars or if it's just these guitars are not quite getting the same attention to detail. But you know, to be absolutely fair and honest, every Taylor was perfect. It was amazing. The cheaper ones, the more affordable ones, were not finished as nicely as the more expensive ones, but all of the USA-made Taylors were just flawless. And that is, I mean, when you're spending $6,000, you do expect that. So bear that in mind with these guitars. It's not just that look and saving the money. I also felt like there were some other things that were kind of cut. Some corners were cut from the guitar I saw. It was not as good as a standard series. I would still recommend getting a standard series guitar or a used guitar over one of these. And I'm not on board with this printed Relic look myself. That's just my opinion. So thanks for that. I'll definitely look out for that guitar again. That's awesome. Thank you, T. Cheers. Dave says go carbon fiber. Well, got the Rain Song, which is awesome. And a friend of mine just got a Emerald, and he's been sending me the specs of that, and it does sound really, really cool. I have to admit, on paper, everything about it is awesome. The weight is the only thing that bugs me, because the Rain Song is really light, and I like light guitars, and his Emerald is over 5 pounds, but the specs and what he's told me and what he's shown me with the pickup and everything, and where the sound hole was placed, and the stainless steel frets, I'm interested. I didn't like what they did recently with their competition. There's a thread about it on the Acoustic Guitar Forum. I kind of vowed after that not to be interested in those guitars ever again. But I have to say, what my friend has sent me, the videos, the pictures, the information, the specs are really good. And I was having a conversation with him last night and saying, isn't it time that Martin did that? Why are Martin like printing these tops on guitars and harkening back to the old days? Why aren't they making carbon guitar? I mean, not everything, but why don't Martin have a carbon guitar with a sound port and with stainless steel frets and with locking tuners and with a new pickup system? Why is everything so traditional? Now, I love traditional. I'll sit and look at Martin guitars all day long. But what about what's next? And what about modern? I mean, I've been very traditional on this channel, but I've also got more into modern stuff. I've got a Quad Cortex, and I've got a tube amp. I've got a Cole Clark, and I've got a Martin. I've got the Rain Song, and I've got another Martin. You know, so I like both sides, but some companies just seem very like they're just staying in the past. I wonder how long that can last for, because eventually we're going to run out of wood, and eventually we're going to need new things. And I always praise companies that do new things and not just the same old things over and over again. So I wish they would do something like that, but maybe they're not the company to do it. Dr. McFarland is here. Good to see you, man. Lee says, had a great time Monday and Tuesday, Aaron. Great to see you live. Got to sign off and have a good week. Yep, I'll see you next week, man. And next week, I'll be here at 1 o'clock, just so you know. I was in Phil's chat. Yes, awesome. Yeah, he gave me a nice shout out last week. I asked him for his opinion on that whole Martin selling direct thing, and his answer was excellent. So if you haven't seen Phil's live stream from last week, it's at the start of the video, then check that out, because he gives me a shout out and then he gives an amazing response to the question I asked him. He's a very, very knowledgeable and great guy, and his answer was awesome. And I learned a lot from that myself. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Quentin says the 214 versus the 914 is a huge difference. It is, but all I really cared about that day was which one did I like. I didn't really care about, I really liked the 214 and I really liked the 914. Now that would be a great video, wouldn't it? Taylor 214 versus Taylor 914. Because, like I said, I tried not to think about the price. I just played the guitars and decided which ones I liked, and I liked those two. Based on price, I would say the 214 is better. But then again, the 914 is just it feels amazing, and it sounded great. It's actually sounded better than the 814, despite being the same kind of build as the 814, but better woods apparently. And of course, I'll say it again. I say it every time. All wooden guitars sound different. I'm sticking by that now, because I keep playing wooden guitars back to back. Now I can get out and play them more, and they all sound so different. Some of it is the strings. Some of it is the action, but I believe a lot of it is the wood. Wood is not a consistent thing like carbon fiber is, right? The Panda says Taylor 324 Builder's Edition is very sweet, really comfortable and playable. Okay, the Builder's Editions get a lot of love, don't they? I don't understand how V-bracing improves intonation. It's just the distance between the nut and the saddle. Yes. I think they don't mean physically, they mean the sound of it. I don't get it either, and I like X-brace guitars. Actually, the Cole Clark is kind of X and V-braced. But then the 214, like I said, has no bracing on the back, and the Rain Song has no bracing, and the Emerald, I presume, has no bracing at all. So there's a lot of marketing here. But what I'd love to do, I'd love to compare a 914 V-brace to a 914 X-brace to a 214. That would be a cool comparison. Pooh Ninja's back. How you doing, man? He's in outer space. Danielle says, when checking acoustic guitars, have you made an effort to determine if the guitar sounds better with a light or heavier touch? Some want more energy. Others are not designed to be driven hard. Yeah, I definitely have a preference for driving hard. I use a heavy pick. I use the Jazz XL 1 mil pick. I play a lot of rock and heavy songs. I do fingerpick some songs. When I audition a guitar, I tend to play it hard to see if it can take it. I noticed when I watched back the video from last week, I was playing everything very hard. And I think I think it was because I was recording with an external recorder and I wanted to make sure it was picking it up psychologically, and also just to see if it could take it. And some of those guitars could take it. I do look for volume with a guitar, I must admit. For a fully acoustic guitar, I look for volume. I try to fingerpick on my reviews, so that's the kind of lighter touch stuff. I don't really do like light strumming and heavy strumming. Maybe I should. I'll consider that. Thanks for the input. But yeah, I tend to just review guitars the way that I play them at home. So I'll try to bear that in mind to do some different stuff. But yeah, I'm not really interested. The Cole Clark behind me isn't a loud guitar, but as it's mostly my live guitar, that doesn't, in a way, that's better. But if I'm buying an acoustic guitar with no pickup in it, I want it to be loud. I really have no interest in a quiet acoustic guitar, because for me, the acoustic guitar is an amp. It's amplifying itself, and it needs to have volume, right? That's really where I'm coming from. Martin learned from Gibson when Gibson went modern with Les Paul, and look how that ended. Yeah, I'm sure they have looked at that, and I'm sure these traditional legacy brands don't want to take risks. But how long can you really do that for? can you really just sell the old stuff? I mean, I guess you can. I guess all guitarists would love to own an HD28, and it's always going to be a great guitar. But at the same time, I don't know. They're doing the SC13, the SC Custom, but I think that's a very modern guitar. I think I just wanted, I think I wanted a different direction. I wanted to see him go into carbon and stainless steel, and definitely a new pickup system. Like the Emerald system is interesting that my friend's got. It's got a K&K and a Ghost piezo, and you can blend them together. That's interesting to me. That's a different kind of pickup setup, rather than just putting a Matrix in there. I mean, the Matrix is a great pickup, but I just want to see experimentation from companies as well. Maybe Martin are the wrong company to experiment. Maybe they are a legacy brand and they should stay that way. Who knows? Have you seen the Cardboard Sessions? Cardboard guitar from Fender, bass and drums made from cardboard. I have not. That sounds interesting. I'll check that out. Just assuming what it is, thinking, it sounds like a weird thing, but okay, I'll check it out. Aerotrop Music, the K24C is a beautiful guitar as well, and a few quid cheaper. You mean the non-builder's edition? Let me see. That was right here on my screen. Not really. It's $300 cheaper. They've got some here. Look, I'll show you. Only $300 cheaper. I think I'd go for the builder's edition. And again, so important to have these photographs, as I was saying in last week's video, because look how different all those guitars are. So which one would I choose? I'd choose this one here. What's the weight of that? That's kind of heavy. I probably would go for the actually I'd go for that £4.7. That's a nice top. I quite like uniform stuff. Sometimes I like a pattern. Actually, I like this £4.7 one. This is nice. Look at that. Yeah, that's cool. That's a nice guitar. Yeah, I like that. So I'm a hypocrite because I was saying the other day I like my Martin to be completely uniform and traditional looking. Yes, I do. But I don't mind a Taylor looking like this. I think this is really cool, and this is what the Cole Clarks look like. And you've got the black ebony and the inlay. I like this guitar. $6,000. Isn't it worth paying the extra $300 and getting the builder's edition? I don't know what a builder's edition means. Is it made by someone else, or does it include different accessories, or is it made with different woods? I don't know. Maybe you can probably tell me in the chat. But I mean, that looks awesome. See, that's the thing. If Taylor could make, if that Taylor sounds good acoustically and sounds really good plugged in, that's a viable guitar. Because not many guitars do both. Recently, I'm sticking to an all acoustic Martin and a guitar that plugs in with a sound for plugging in. I don't want to mix them anymore, because I find when I mix them, I'm never truly happy with the sound unplugged. I wonder if the tone has been affected by the pickup, and I'm never truly happy with the stage sound because I'm wondering if more pickups could make me sound better. So I'm dealing with this stuff lately by separating the products. I have a tube amp and I have a Quad Cortex. I have a Martin and I have a Cole Clark, and that's what I'm trying to do. I have a Suhr, I have a Fender. That's what I'm doing lately, and it's working for me. But if I ever do find a guitar that sounds great unplugged and great on stage, I would definitely rate that guitar, and that's what I would hope from the Taylor here. For $6,000, I'd hope it would sound awesome unplugged and awesome plugged in, and then they're onto a real winner with something like that. But yeah, that thing looks great. Actually reminds me of the Cole Clark, but it's still $6,000, so it's not the sort of thing that I want to just do on a whim, And I'm not into buying stuff to send it back either. I'd have to do something with Taylor. Prodigal Nation says, even Bob Taylor has come out and said he has zero interest in carbon or composite guitars. Interesting. They instead focus on new, less traditional wood. Seems Martin would be least likely to dabble. Well, Martin do the composites with the X series, don't they? And yeah, that's interesting. No to carbon, hey? Some of these carbon videos, including the ones that I've made, when I do those comparisons, so often people choose the carbon guitar over the traditional Martin. It happened to me. So I don't know why. The other thing is, you have to remember, if Martin or Taylor went into carbon, they'd have to make a whole new factory or a whole new department in the factory, right? And a whole new training. Oh, Wow, I just lost video. You know, my camera has never overheated. I'm worried now. You can still hear me, right? My camera has never overheated since I bought it, and it just overheated. And it said put on high temp mode. I thought it was on high temp mode, so maybe it's not. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn the AC on, and I'll just talk through the questions for the next 5 minutes. I'll turn it back on again. So bear with me. Everything is fine. I'm quite surprised by that. It happened to me the other day. When I did the Martin video yesterday, I did the audio recording with the handheld recorder. And yeah, I know, Dave, cheers. I had reverb on the recording, and I thought, hang on, I never have reverb on the recording. What's going on? So I checked the settings, and reverb was turned on in the master settings, and I didn't turn that on. So maybe my camera has reset itself to not allow high temperature mode. Basically, if you have a Sony camera and do live streaming, there's a normal temp mode and a high temp mode, and you have to enable high temp mode. That means it will go to a very high temperature before it shuts down. And if you don't do that, then it'll shut down sooner. So I'll just talk for a few minutes and I'll turn it back on when it's had a chance to cool down. We still have audio. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll jump to the website, and in that way, it doesn't look like my stream has died. There we go. So now you think that we're still here. All right, cool. There's always something with this technology. There's always something. Danielle says, I think a hard driving single note melody like Irish fiddle tune would be helpful when judging the sound. Yeah, I agree. I've often thought about that. Fingerstyle, fiddle tune, light strumming, heavy strumming, right? And then maybe a capo. I don't disagree. Sometimes I just do heavy strumming and fingerstyle because that's what I do. But no, I don't disagree with you. Cheers, Dave. Yeah, I'm glad you can still hear me at least. David Belcher says, good time for guitar comparison. I know, right? I'm just not set up to do it yet with the microphones. I might do some live comparisons in the future because I'm going to rejig my microphone setup in here. In fact, I might even get rid of the U87. I've decided that U87 is totally overkill for what I do. I might even sell it and get myself like a SM7B and just leave another mic set up permanently to do those guitar comparisons. So watch this space. I'm still thinking about that. I do think it's fun to do it live and actually see the comments on the screen, but not today. Not today. I'll just tell you, while I'm waiting for the camera to cool down, I'll just tell you what I did last week. Again, if you haven't watched those videos, please do. It really helps me out. So I'll just go back as far as guitar shopping in NYC. I really enjoyed that, doing an on-location video, and that's a great memory to have of Lee and Rosanna. OM28 review, I did because I'm selling the OM28. And yeah, that came out well. I saw the Martin Casals Sound Direct, so I jumped on that video to get it out there first, and that kind of paid off. And I think that's really interesting that Martin are now following on footsteps from Gibson, well, Fender, Gibson, Rainsong, and well, basically every company, Taylor and Emerald, and not Cole Clark, but all those companies I mentioned today are basically selling direct to consumer. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. But that was a cool video, 2,000 views almost. So they're the ones you got to get out quickly if you're going to do the news stuff. Then Ebony versus Streaky Ebony. I just simply did that because I have the Streaky Ebony OM that I'm selling, so I want to get that video out there. The best way to weigh a guitar, I did that because I've wanted that for a long time, because those scales really are useful when you're shipping guitars. And then the OM28 standard versus custom, again, because I'm selling the standard, I wanted to do that shootout with those two. I won't tell you what's coming next because I'm just going to make a decision each day of what I do. I'm going to get these videos cranked out, but yeah, it's going to be very random what comes out from me. So just stay subscribed and turn notifications on to be alerted when it comes out. I'm going to try turn the camera back on because it should have cooled down now. And the AC is running, so we'll see. There we go. We're back. Wow. Very interesting. It might go off again. In fact, I'm going to stay on for a little while longer to see if the camera does go off, because I don't like that. I paid a lot of money to have that camera fixed recently. It randomly got a weird splotch on the screen, and I didn't want to. I could have just left it, but I decided to have Sony fix it. and it was so much money. And now if it's going to overheat all the time, I won't be buying any more Sony cameras. But I think it's just a setting. We'll see. We shall see. It's all good stuff to talk about on the channel, isn't it? Technology and cameras. 4800 over here for the K24C, 6000 for the builders, 5700 in for the minute it's on sale, and 5500 for the deluxe. I'm seeing 6000 at Sweetwater and 6300 for the builders. So I guess I get the builders. Can someone tell me what the difference is between a builder's edition and a standard edition? I have no idea. I often see these I always assume the builder's edition is made in the custom shop, and the regular edition is made in the factory floor. But let me know if I'm wrong about that, because I really don't know. And give me some more questions. I want to stay on for a bit longer today to test the camera. So give me some more questions. The AC is running. Hopefully you can't hear it. Another reason why you should not use condenser mics. Use dynamic microphones if you have a noisy apartment or AC running. I'm probably going to sell my in the lockdown, I bought the shotgun mic for my videos, which is way too sensitive in an apartment. And I bought the U87 for recording demos and covers. Way too sensitive. I actually think that dynamic Shure SM7B and the Neumann that I use, what's it called? K187? No, it's not that. You know what I mean? The small pencil mic is all I really need. So I might do some switching around the microphones. And I might get some money back out of that as well. Philip G says, what are your favorite small body guitar? It is not easy to try them in store, as they're not often in stock. I'm thinking about getting the best possible O or 00 size. I don't know. The thing about small body guitars is they often leave me lacking. Sometimes they're too hard to play. They're too cramped. Sometimes they don't sound very good. At the end of the day, usually with a guitar, the bigger you get, the better it sounds, right? And for me, the sweet spot is between an OM, kind of a GPC, and a Dreadnought. Once you get smaller than that, you can compromise the sound, because no tiny guitar will sound as good as a bigger guitar. But that's subjective, depending on what sound you want and depending on how important that is to you. But I was looking today at the Martin Turs guitars, the size 5. I'd love to get one of those, or sorry, try one. I never tried one. I might not like it, but they look really cool. They look really fun. But yeah, for me, as I said earlier, for me, it's more about the sound. So for me, like I said, I want a guitar that sounds really good plugged in or really good unplugged. And then aside from that, you know, I used to play Mini Maton, which was a bit like that, you know, small body guitar. Again, it didn't inspire me at all unplugged, but it was portable and it sounded really good plugged in. So I don't know. I'd like to investigate the small guitars, but for me, the smaller guitars just never sound as good as the bigger ones. So it might be a rudimentary answer, but that's what I've found so far. But yeah, I was trying to find a Martin size 5 to check out, and there's none in stock. You'd have to custom order one. And I'm not going to custom order a guitar I'd never played. I'm not that brave. So, did you say you have a tube amp? Kicking myself for trading in a hand-wired Fender Deluxe Reverb. I had the hand-wired Princeton, but it just wasn't loud enough for a gig for me. So my current tube amps, I have the Mark 7 3-channel tube amp, and I have the Mark 25 combo. So my plan with that is the 7 stays here, got 3 channels, 100 watts, and goes direct. I never actually reviewed it. I bought it and never reviewed it. That's my tube amp. I sold the other amps and bought that. It's really great. I love the sound of the Mark's amps. And I've got the 525 with like a mini stack that I would take out to a gig because it's so light. And I do have a couple of other amps, again, that I'm going to review before I sell them. I just find that the solid state stuff, as you've watched my videos, it never quite has the sound of the tube stuff. And I don't want to be a snob and say, well, it's got to be analog, it's got to be tube, because that's like saying it's got to be a Martin, it's got to be wood, it's got to be rosewood, it's got to be Brazilian. That's simply not true. And there is some solid state stuff that is really impressive. And of course, then it's more portable. So it definitely has its place, and there's definitely good solid state and bad solid state. But I do like, not only do I honestly feel the tube stuff has a certain sound, I also just really like the sound of the Mesa preamps and amps, and I'm just drawn to that sound. So I've got those two, and I think that's all I need for what I do. I don't play electric out that often. And the only reason I would change from the 25 is if they brought out a new version with a direct out with IRs. But actually, the direct out, analog direct out on the 25 is really good anyway. So one of my favorite things to do is to plug a really nice electric guitar straight into a tube amp and just play that. You get a really nice fat and immediate tone. So I definitely like my tube amps, but they are expensive, they are heavy, they are hard to maintain, and eventually I'd like to find something that allows me to go like a power amp that I really rate. So I've actually got something that I'm working on potentially along those lines, but so far I've played some very good solid state amps and I've played some pretty terrible solid state amps, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm hoping to find the one soon. Thomas Moore, good to see you. How you doing? Very good to see you. So it seems like the stream is okay now. When I finish, I have to check that setting. I think that was the problem. But yes, have I missed anything? Any more topics you want to talk about today? Let me know. And I'm going to get ready to shoot tonight's video. So let me know in the chat if you've got any questions. I'm still waiting to hear about those new Mayer guitars. They're still silent. There was the rumor of them dropping last week. It didn't happen. I'm hearing by the end of the month. I'm really interested to do some deep dive conversation about those guitars. Just basically the direction they've taken with the John Mayer signatures and also how they are as guitars in their own right. And I know that Neural are releasing a new update soon. I'll definitely be covering that because I do love the Quad Cortex, and there's a big update coming soon. Also, they're going to do a public beta of the editor, so I'll definitely cover that as well. And that'll be cool because that'll mean that I can actually put the editor on the screen and show you what I'm doing on the video rather than try to put a camera over the Quad Cortex and it just doesn't pick up the screen. The screen's beautiful on the Quad Cortex, but the camera doesn't pick up the screen very well. So once I release the editor, I'll be able to actually put this editor on the screen and play the electric guitar and show you different amps and different captures and things. So Thomas Moore says, is it best to go to Reverb to sell a guitar or try to trade it in? I haven't sold many, but have one to sell, a Les Paul. Excuse me. Great question. So when I'm going to be selling the OM28 Standard soon. How am I going to sell it? I've thought about this myself. What's the best way to sell it in 2023? I could offer it for sale here, but that makes me a bit uncomfortable. I could also, I'll tell you why, I could also make it for sale on a forum and on Facebook Marketplace. They all make me uncomfortable because what if something goes wrong? I'll tell you why I'm a fan of Reverb. Many people are not a fan of Reverb. Many people feel they take too much money, they take too much commission, and they charge too much, and they're like an evil corporation. I actually think they're awesome. And here's why. Everyone's on it. Everyone looks on Reverb. They have a huge database of people looking for guitars. And when you sell the guitar, yes, they take a commission, as they should. It's their website. And yes, they charge you to ship it. But when you buy their label, it's very competitively priced. I used to ship guitars myself, and buying a shipping label on Reverb is a lot cheaper, especially these days. You also get their insurance if you pay for it. Just not too much money will get their insurance. And if anything goes wrong, in my experience so far, they've taken care of it. I have been a very good customer of theirs. I've bought and sold a ton of stuff on there, but they have been awesome every single time. So I'm going to put that guitar for sale on Reverb, I think. And yes, I'll lose money on it and fees. I'll probably lose money on what I paid for the guitar in total. The fact it has the LR Baggs installed pickup is probably not going to be a good thing for me because people can use that to their advantage to say, well, I don't want the pickup when they do, and I'll give you less because it's got the pickup when they actually probably want the pickup anyway. Some people like that. If it was someone here that I knew really well for years on the channel and they really wanted it and were okay with taking the risk, I would sell it direct to someone on the channel. In the future, I might try to do that more often with people I really know well. But even then, what if something goes wrong? Reverb gives you that protection. I've also tried Sweetwater Marketplace. I don't know what their protection is like. They don't sell you the shipping label, I don't think. So I'm not as confident with that, although it is worth considering. And if you opt for the Sweetwater credit instead of the payment, you don't have to pay a commission to Sweetwater. So that's worth considering. But for me, Reverb is still just, they're just great. And I've had bad experiences on Reverb, but I've been taken care of either way every time. So I would say Reverb, and just don't price it too low. Price it for what's fair and what you really want, and then don't lower the price unless you have to. And also, Reverb just offered for me to send out private offers to buyers as well. So they sent some discounted prices out to people that were watching the product. I've still got a base on there. They sent out offers to people that were actually watching the base. No one bought it, but that to me is better than just dropping the price for everyone, to send those private offers to people that are watching the instrument. So yeah, I would say Reverb. But you're gonna not make as much money, but you're gonna have a much smoother time of it, I think. And always get their insurance when you ship something. And if someone picks it up in person, always make sure they tick it as picked up before they leave. I have a Les Paul Special custom shop on the sale, 57 RI. That sounds nice. But what's the weight of that? I'd like to know the weight. Have you already had any bad history buying an acoustic guitar online? I am still worried not trying before buying. Yeah, I have had a few bad experiences. So never with Sweetwater. No, I've had some bad experiences with Sweetwater. Not always their fault. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe it was their fault. But every time they just said, look, here's a label, send it back, we'll refund everything. That's okay. That's going to happen. I bought from other dealers where there's been problems. To be fair, most of them have done the same thing, but sometimes it feels like it's not as smooth sailing as with Sweetwater. And I bought some used guitars that I felt, again, in my opinion, were not as advertised. And if it was through Reverb, Reverb would have either given me money back or given me a refund. There was a couple of guitars I got stung on where it was not in the condition it was advertised as, and I sold at a loss. I had one horrible experience where I bought a guitar that was not in the condition that I was told it was in, and then they accused me of damaging the guitar. And what happened with that in the end is that Reverb paid the seller back and gave me back my money, and they took it back themselves, and I believe they sold it themselves. So that's how far they'll go to make things right. Those situations are not fun, but again, that's why you want to have that protection. If you buy from someone you don't know on a forum, and you say, is there any fret wear? And they say no, and you get it and the frets are worn, then you have this, then it's a personal matter, right? Of like, you lied, no I didn't, that's normal, that's not normal, I can't deal with that. And also ask the questions. Is there fret wear? Send me photographs of the frets. Okay? Don't just take people's word for it. I'm not saying everyone's out to get you, but I'm saying you need everything documented when you're buying a guitar, right? Because my mint might be your very good, and vice versa. I've sold a lot of mint guitars in the past because I stupidly bought guitars and sold them on and lost money. And I always put mint, and sometimes people didn't believe it. They thought I was just making stuff up. But I have a lot of good feedback on there, so I did okay. And then every time they were like, oh my God, I can't believe it's mint. It's amazing. It's almost like a new guitar. Whereas I bought mint stuff from other people and it's just used, right? It's not mint at all. It's like a used, very highly used guitar. So photographs, videos. Some people make videos while they ship the guitar to show it being put in the box and how they've packaged it. Also, packaged guitars, well, I've had guitars show up here with the box open and the guitar falling out of the case. I've had guitars ship here in terrible packaging. It's full of holes and broken. I had a guitar that I did actually sell on to a friend of the channel that showed up broken, and that was a write-off. I got most of my money back, sold it on to a friend of the channel for what I got for it, and now he's having it done up. I didn't want to deal with that. I've got a lot of stories. I'd rather talk about those in another video, like what can go wrong shipping guitars. But yes, I have had horror stories. I had a tube amp get broken, supposedly got broken on arrival, and Reverb paid to have it fixed. So that's why I will only ship and buy from Reverb now. And I'll ask the questions before I hit buy. I want to make sure we're on the same page. And I advise you to do the same, unless you don't care about that stuff. Some people just want a guitar. They don't care how it shows up. I am fussy, and I do, you know, if I buy something that's mint, I want it to be mint. That's just how I am. So, could you advertise it at your gigs? Yeah, again, it's dodgy, isn't it? You know, I got a guitar for sale, meet me out the back kind of thing. I don't even like meeting people in person. I sold some electronics 6 months ago on Facebook Marketplace for very cheap prices just to get stuff out of the apartment. And it was, I met a couple of lovely people, and I met some Well, I had people just not show up. At that point, it's your time, right? That's time I could have been doing a video or doing a gig. People just don't show up. It's crazy. On Reverb, they'll pay the deposit or they'll pay the money. The money will clear. You'll send the item. When you get the tracking, they pay the money. If there's any problem, Reverb step in, hear both sides of the story. You send the evidence, they send the evidence, Reverb make a decision, blah, blah, blah. That's the way to do it. I'm not into the stress of, I don't want to save $50, but have to be hanging out in some parking lot at midnight to meet someone who's late to pick up a guitar. I don't want to do that. That's £8 for Les Paul. Hey, that's good. Yeah. If I ever get a Les Paul, I want it to be under £8. I decided. Most of them are £8 to £10. Yeah, send me the pictures if you want, Thomas, or send me the link when you put it up. I'll check it out. Say hi at aaronshortmusic.com. I'd like to see it. I watched your how to weigh a guitar. I need that scale. Yeah, it's a game. It sounds ridiculous. I thought it'd be such a boring video, but I made it because it changed how I do things. Like before, I remember putting a custom shop Strat on one of those the luggage. It's crazy. I was worried it was going to fall off and trying to weigh it. And then I would just box it up and I would take the guitar down to the UPS store and have them weigh it. It's just crazy. Those postal scales are amazing. And even like if I'm weighing a pickup or weighing a pedal or anything, I use them all the time. Everyone that buys and sells guitars should have them. And because your Les Paul is £8, and that's light for a Les Paul, you want to put them on that scale and take a picture of it on the scale to show £8 and put that in your listing. Because so many listings and guitar stores don't list the weight. That's so important to many people, especially with a Les Paul. You need to put the weight on there. Because the minute I see £8, I'm interested in that guitar. The minute I see £9 on the guitar, I lose a lot of interest. So £8, and if the scale said 7 point something for a Les Paul, you're going to get loads more interest in that guitar. So get those scales as soon as you can, and use the link in my video. Trades, they wanted 60% off Reverb sales prices, which I could lose too much. Yeah, that's the thing with Guitar Center. I do occasionally walk stuff into Guitar Center to be done with it and get the money in hand. But you got to remember, they have to then sell it on and make the profit themselves. When you sell direct or through Reverb, you're the seller. When you sell stuff on commission or through a store or to Guitar Center, they need to then make profit on top of what they give you. So it's easy, but you're going to get way less money. That's a personal decision. Yeah, that is about the going price. Yeah, I honestly, Reverb gets a lot of stick. I think Reverb's great. And I think if you're buying and selling, I think the best thing to do is not to buy and sell in the first place. But if you need to sell something and you haven't got a friend that wants it, sell it on Reverb and just pay the insurance and just package it well. Take the pictures before you ship it. Take a video of you boxing it up. Cover yourself completely. Get it out the door. Get the money and move on. That's what I would do. All right, well, I'm glad my camera seems okay now. Hopefully it's just because it got really hot in here and maybe the setting has been changed back to the previous setting. I don't understand why that would happen. But anyway, hopefully that's it. Because I do love my camera. Very, very happy with my camera and my lens. And I have no interest in replacing my camera anytime soon. I think it looks great. And then going out and about, I love using the iPhone because there's no batteries to use. You just use the phone all day long, sync the audio, and you're good to go. All right, if there's no more questions, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for hanging out today. I like to get all these ideas and feedback. In fact, this is great now because I can get feedback on the videos I've just released. Like, I do appreciate your constructive criticism. We're all getting better at this stuff, right? So it's awesome. So, usual speech. If you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. Help me get to my next milestone. There we go. Turn on notifications. I'm trying to post the videos at 8 a.m. I might change that to noon because Reverb says I get the most viewers online at noon. But for now, it's 8 a.m. Might change it to noon. We'll see. Next week will be 1 p.m. because I have a gig. I might even change the time to 1 p.m. on a Monday. If you're watching the replay here or watching in the chat, let me know if 1 p.m. is better for you. Maybe I'll just do 1 p.m. every week so we're not, everyone in the UK is not up at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Maybe 1 o'clock's better. I don't know. Yeah, apparently my viewers that watch the channel are all on YouTube at 12 o'clock. So it kind of makes more sense to upload videos at 12 and go live at 1, maybe. Or even post videos at 1 and go live at 1. So it's always 1 o'clock. That could be a change worth making. Let me know what you think, if that suits you or not. 1 p.m. EST every day. You're welcome, Prodigal Nation. I really enjoy it, and like I said, my brain is getting ideas for more videos. But please, if you do like, if I help you in any way, I would just ask politely. Like I have the Soundhole stuff down in the description of every video. I have the affiliate links. If you're ever ordering anything from Amazon, Reverb, or Sweetwater, if you click my link and then order, I do get some commission at no cost to you. And if you want to directly support what I do, you can buy me a coffee. Thanks to everyone that bought me a coffee the last few weeks. I really appreciate it. I have buy me a coffee at the end of every video, and you can send super thanks and super chats as well if you want to. It all just helps me because I do have to buy stuff, and I am planning on doing some travel soon, which will obviously cost me money to do. So I do really appreciate it. But if you don't want to do that, it's fine too. And if you can just share my videos or mention my videos to someone you know, that will help me out just as well, because I want to build up the channel and get more numbers, and then maybe I can find a way to get that income without asking the viewers. But I'm going to try to steer away from sponsored content. I've got a few things lined up that I'm interested in that I would do for that. But I was thinking today, I'd rather get a sponsor that isn't music related at all. If it's a full-time sponsor, I'd rather be sponsored by a tea company, or a shoe company or something. I don't want any kind of bleed over of bias on my channel. So we'll see. But have a great week. Enjoy the week. Enjoy your guitars. Please watch all my videos from last week, and please watch my videos from this week and share them. And I'll see you again next Monday at 1 p.m. EST. Take care. Bye-bye.
I'm not lost, but I'm not found. I'm not up, but I'm not